In this video, I'm going to share with you an intuitive message that I just received as I was having a conversation with a girlfriend, and it's about perimenopause, menopause type symptoms, and specifically around like histamine response and mast cell activation syndrome. So we were chatting about something that she's been experiencing physically in her body on her skin and trying to like figure out exactly what it was. She went to the naturopath, like doing all the research, trying all the things, couldn't figure it out. And then yesterday when I saw her, I was like, it could actually be mast cell activation syndrome that's happening. Like I've experienced that. Typically, it's something that happens around like ovulation time, when your estrogen levels are up really, really high. And it's like I experience it as like an allergic reaction kind of feeling. Like I just become hypersensitive and allergic to like everything, like from food to animals to people to situations to things, to stress. So before I dive into the intuitive message, I want to share what actually is mast cell activation syndrome and just like about like histamines and sort of what's happening with perimenopause, because I am no expert. I am not a doctor, and I don't have this memorized. I can just share an intuitive message of what it sort of is coming through, but I'd rather actually like share it directly of what it is. So mast cell activation syndrome. So mast cells are immune cells that live throughout your body in your skin, gut, blood vessels, and connective tissue. Their job is to act as first responders to anything they perceive as a threat. So that can be infections, stress, toxins, allergens, etc. So when they're triggered, they release chemical messengers, mainly histamine, but also cytokines and some other things here, to create an inflammatory response that protects you. Okay. So in mast cell activation syndrome, these mast cells become hypersensitive, like I said, and start releasing histamine too easily or too often, even when there's no true danger. So it creates things like flushing or redness, itchy skin or hives, headaches, dizziness, fatigue, gut symptoms, bloating, diarrhea, nausea, anxiety, racing heart, brain fog. It's like your immune system's alarm system is stuck in its on position. Okay, so what's happening internally when it comes like with the estrogen and the histamine? So this is where it gets fascinating and directly connects to perimenopause and hormonal shifts. So estrogen and histamine have a two-way relationship. Okay, so estrogen increases histamine release. Estrogen stimulates mast cells to release histamine. So histamine increases estrogen levels. Histamine also triggers your ovaries to make more estrogen. So when one goes up, the other tends to go up too, and it's a feedback loop. Okay, so it's just like excess estrogen happening in your physical body. So during perimenopause, estrogen doesn't simply decline, it fluctuates widely. There are moments when it spikes too high, which is estrogen dominance, and others when it drops too low. So when it spikes, histamine levels rise, mast cells become hyperactive, and inflammation increases. You might notice new sensitivities to food. You might have rashes, anxiety, or sleep disruption. So when estrogen drops, histamine regulation weakens. The stabilizing effect of progesterone is lost. Mast cells can still stay overactive because there's no longer that hormonal soothing effect. Essentially, the balance between estrogen, progesterone, and histamine starts to unravel. Okay. So yeah, that's all. I'm going to kind of dive into that. So with the energetic message, so I was telling my friend, I'm like, okay, when we go through these hormonal shifts, it's actually changing estrogen levels, as it's mentioned there. It rises up, it lowers down, and it's all about having this like buffer between stress and things that like can create that histamine response, like that like allergic reaction kind of sensation. So what I feel like is going on energetically. So like obviously we can support ourselves physically, right? It's recommended that you lower your histamine foods that have histamine in them. You lower the foods that create histamine in your body. And then also focusing on stress levels. You can supplement with things like quercetin and nettles. Those are the things that I physically did. Now, beyond supporting yourself physically, which I think is so important for you to do, this is the message that came through energetically. Okay, so internally, there's a lot happening as the hormones are changing, right? And the hormones are letting us know what's no longer in alignment, what is no longer workable in our life, and what are the things we're allergic to in our life. And most likely, when women are going through these hormonal shifts, they're actually going through some pretty traumatic shifts in their life as well. Myself and my friend included, it's like really launching your soul-led business and just like going through a lot of like deep healing and clearing out old patterns and evolving, and like all of these big things are happening, which in itself is a lot on the system. Now you add in all the hormonal shifts that are happening as well. It's like the system is overloaded, and it's a beautiful thing because it's actually showing you what's not working in your life. It's showing you where you're not in alignment. It's showing you where you need to start to say yes, where you start to say no. And what happens is as these hormones fluctuate, and with this like histamine response, you are so hypersensitive to these changes. So like if you look back, let's say even 10 years or whatever, I don't know where you are on this journey, but you might not have been this sensitive to these big changes in your life. When something was out of alignment, let's just say like you have a night where you didn't sleep very well, and then you went out and you had a big day, you had a big stressful day, you'd have a good night's sleep and then you recharge and you'd be fine. But like with these big shifts in the hormones, those things become a big thing now, right? Because it's letting you know what's not working anymore. It's like you don't have the resilience anymore. You don't have the buffer, the estrogen buffer to be like, actually, this isn't stressful on the system. So I'm kind of like rambling on this, but essentially it's like there's a lot going on internally. There's a lot going on externally in your life. And you have become more sensitive to things that are out of harmony internally and externally. So it's increasing that histamine response in your body, which is making that like allergic reaction. And it's also affecting like headaches and migraines and anxiety, racing heart, sleep disturbances, digestive issues, all of that. So when I was talking to her about it, like there's so much stuff out there saying like perimenopause and menopause and all those symptoms and stuff like that are a bad thing. And it's like, what can we do to fix it? Right? What are the things that supplements we can take, the lifestyle changes we can do to fix this because it's uncomfortable? But actually what's happening is your feminine energy, nature is letting you know what is no longer in alignment for you. And it's kind of forcing you to make these changes because it's so uncomfortable in your body, right? So see it as a gift of letting you know what's not working. You could almost see this as like in your menstrual cycle, the luteal phase, as you're moving into menstruation, that PMS symptoms. It's actually letting you know what's not working in your life, what happened in your last cycle that's not workable anymore that you need to change. So when you're menstruating, then you go inward and have that time where you're connecting to your intuition, and it's going to let you know, hey, this isn't working. I want you to try this, and I want you to do this instead in this next cycle, right? So you can almost see like perimenopause and menopause as a luteal phase where it's like all the time you're hypersensitive. It's letting you know because it's wanting to make these changes real time, like quickly. Get yourself in alignment, get yourself back in flow with nature, with being a female, because like the world, we are accustomed to living like a man, and we are not a man. Our hormones are completely different. So this is showing us that, right? So just try to like reframe what you're experiencing in your body as being actually a good thing. It is supporting you. It's helping you be more healthy, more vital, more in alignment with your soul's purpose, and living a life that you absolutely love, and living a life that's more in flow. And here's the interesting other piece that came through when I was talking to her is like I mentioned at the beginning, where it was like, I don't remember my mom going through any of these like perimenopausal symptoms, um, other than she had migraines, like in her 30s, kind of like onward, she had migraines and they were really bad. They were debilitating. Like she had like tests done to see if she had like MS. Other than that, no other like conversations or anything I ever knew about her going through this. And so I was telling my friend, like, okay, we are on this path where we're really trying to evolve, like even just like what is going on in the world. Like we are on a fast track evolutionary process. Everything is coming up for you to shift, for you to evolve, for you to expand, for you to grow, for you to heal, all of that stuff, right? That wasn't happening when our parents were growing up. Their stresses were like their relationship, kids, finances, maybe some health stuff, right? Like it wasn't the stress of like evolving and like really finding your true purpose and getting yourself out there, really consciously raising your children, really choosing to listen to the intuitive messages of your body, all of the stuff that's going on the planet, in the world collectively, like that is a lot of stress. We are processing a lot more stress than I feel like they did back in that day. And because we are a lot more sensitive to our bodies now because of this evolutionary process, it's like the system is saying, hey, this is too much, right? So like, what do you do in this situation? Well, obviously I mentioned supporting yourself physically, but then also it's like looking at like, what is it actually trying to show me? What are the changes that I need to actually make in my life? And then um, being kinder to yourself, right? Really supporting your nervous system, doing things to really make sure that you know, and your nervous system and your emotions and your mind know that you are actually safe, and saying no when you need to say no, saying yes when you need to say yes, setting those boundaries, really getting in alignment in your life. And here's the really cool piece too, and this is more of an empowering piece, is to start to lift yourself up, start to increase your capacity, increase your power, increase your inner strength, just knowing that you can do it, right? So like myself, my friend included, we are on this big journey of getting our soul's purpose out there and really helping people on the planet. Like that's a big thing, right? So if I get caught up in what's going on inside of my body, what's going on in my life, and all of the stress and the histamine responses and all of that that's going on, my system can't handle all of it. So I need to actually expand my system, expand the resilience in my nervous system, expand the resilience in myself mentally, lifting myself up like you can do this, right? So I've got programs. I'm in the process of actually revamping another program that pairs a physical movement exercise with this expansive energy, really lifting yourself up, getting yourself into the energy of like, you've got this, you're confident, you're strong internally, you're powerful, you are the leader of your life, and bringing that energy in with physical movement to really code yourself on a level of the DNA. If you're interested in this, just check the link below. The program is called Holistically Strong. I'm going to put in the link to my original program. And when the new one is out and ready to go, it'll be in the comments as well. So anyways, that was my intuitive message. It's just like, what is going on inside is actually going on outside as well. And it's like, how can we actually move through this? And how can we actually see this as a gift? How can we see this as intuition from the body being like, these are the things that your feminine energy, your intuition is guiding you to shift in your life so you can get back into flow with nature. Getting back into flow with nature is really you being in your power and listening to what your body intuitively is trying to tell you, right? And not seeing it like, I'm not a victim of my body. I'm not a victim of my health. I'm listening to the messages. I'm creating the transformation internally and externally. And then those symptoms start to reside. So I can even see when I'm going through a big shift in my expansion, usually that histamine response and those kind of things start to crop up. So that's a time where it's like, yes, I'm going to support myself with nutrition and supplements, but also I'm going to support myself mentally to really lift myself up. Like you've got this, Deanna. You've got this. You can expand to this next level. So I hope you'd enjoyed this. Comment below. Let me know how this message feels for you. Again, this is my truth. This is the message that came through me to share. It might not resonate with you. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And I'd love to hear what resonated or what didn't resonate with you. And I will see you in the next video.